现在地球上的潘多拉魔盒已经被打开，揭示地球上现在成为者存在的许多秘密背后的真相。为了促进你的恢复，现在有必要与你分享一个更完整、更详细的统领地描述。请阅读这份材料，因为它将帮助你重拾你的记忆，忆起你真正的身份，你来自何处。以下信息已尽可能准确地翻译成地球语言。本传书中包括的所有通信都是从 DEF 的军官和成员之间的心灵感应通讯转录而来的。统领地远征军 Domain Expeditionary Force 简称 DEF 准确定义个人的不朽的灵性体的概念，并没有任何已知的地球语言可描述。因为地球居民被关押在持续不断的失忆状态中，他们不再回忆或觉察到自己是永恒的灵性体，因此人为定义并将其应用于术语现在成为者。现在成为者等于一个不朽存有的主要本质，是他们生活在一个永恒的状态中，而他们存在的唯一原因是他们决定成为。遗憾的是，这一定义并不包括对一个现在成为者的能力、行动力、理解力和全能的分级程度的描述，而现在成为者是永恒仁慈领域的公民所普遍理解的。DEF 所称的旧帝国包括来自众多星系的现在成为者，以及许多目前地球监狱上的人。所有这些现在成为者都是早期社会的成员，他们入侵并征服了包括银河系在内的广阔空间。公元前20万08千年，作为银河系政治和经济中心的北斗七星星座中的行星系统被原子武器征服。随后，这支入侵军队包括目前地球人口中的一些现在成为者，跌入了一个不可挽回的衰退和恶化的状态。在各个衰落期中，现在成为者以肉体形式居住的状况处于最底层，在旧帝国的堕落社会中处于社会经济政治等级的最底层。沿着穿越星系3793的入侵路线， DEF 的一支小型军事部队于公元前8212年到达银河系外围，并在太阳系建立了后勤太空站。在公元前8050年， DEF 的主要军事部队前往位于北斗七星座尾部区恒星之一的行星系统，摧毁了旧帝国的银河行政中心。地球正被一个来自旧帝国的秘密社团非法篡夺为监狱星球的事实，是在公元前6248年被统领地远征军 DEF 无意中发现的。一个由3000人组成的 DEF 队伍驻扎在喜马拉雅山的一个山顶上，遭到了 BOTS 太空船的攻击。这些太空船隐藏在火星表面之下。DEF 部队的现在成为者被俘虏，并被带到 BOTS 的火星地下基地。他们每个人都接受了彻底清除记忆并植入假身份的治疗。紧接着DEF 部队的每个成员都被送回地球，居住在生物体内。整个地球和星系3793的相邻空间遍布着 BOTS 的装置，这些装置几乎无法探测，也无法摧毁。如果不是因为这些装置在现在成为者每次离开身体时都会被捕获并强化现在成为者的失忆，那么 DEF 任务人员也许能够在数千年前就已救出所有失踪的3000名成员了。公元前5965年，在几次寻找失踪成员的努力失败后，DEF 在小行星带和金星上建立了秘密设施，继续从那里搜寻和营救他们。持续的调查显示 ，BOTS 利用地球作为秘密监狱已经至少3万年。由于 BOTS 是一个神秘的秘密组织，所以在旧帝国政府的档案中没有这种活动的记录。不管出于什么原因，他们谋害认为是贱民的现在成为者，并从旧帝国的各个行星系统运送到地球。每一个现在成为者都被给予同样的治疗，并被判处永久失忆和监禁在地球上。监狱行星继续被用作一个方便的地方来处理来自临近星系的贱民。迄今为止 ，DEF 任务一直在继续他们在地球上的救援行动。虽然该队伍的大多数成员已被找到，但他们仍被拘禁，到目前为止一直处于永久失忆的状态。只有少数人已恢复。由于分散在地球周围和整个空间区域的监狱行星失忆装置的压倒性效果，DEF 任务到目前为止还没有成功地营救出许多失踪的成员。每一次现在成为者死亡或离开身体时，失忆装置就会在电子强制屏障中探测并捕获现在成为者，重复同样的治疗，防止从地球逃脱。所有营救任务人员必须满足高风险任务志愿者的最低任务人员身份要求，这是由于该任务的特殊性质，需要所有人员在敌对或敌方领土内秘密行动。在这个任务中，作战需要进入、操作和离开肉体的能力，这已经够危险的了。但是在一个被 BOTS 失忆意识控制机器包围的高重力监狱星球上，这样做就更复杂了。所有 DEF 人员都是志愿者。作为志愿者，任何任务人员可自行决定是否离职、请假，而无需纪律处分，但必须事先得到任务指挥官的授权。每个任务的持续时间都是根据各自的任务指令预先确定的，但通常不少于一个任务周期，即5000个地球年。 地球上的一些潜修者、通灵者或灵性学家有能力感知一个现在成为者，并与他们心灵感应交流。无论现在成为者是在身体内还是身体之外，这种通讯都是相同的。然而，已被赋予失忆并被迫进入生物体的粗暴限制中的现在成为者的能场和感知能力，例如地球上的现在成为者，确实是非常有限的。一个明显的事实是，一旦被奴役，许多现在成为者宁愿继续自愿地成为奴隶，而不是面对他们的个人责任，因为他们没有反对奴役他们的现在成为者，甚至反而帮助去奴役他们的现在成为者同胞。这种行为被 Bots 视为他们继续掌权的保证。虽然统领地愿意提供帮助，但我们目前还没有授权投入资源来拯救地球上的普通人口。根据目前统领地的入侵计划表，在我们的入侵力主体到达这个星系之前，只有一个任务周期，在这个周期内，其他的用途已经被指定给地球。在那之前，地球上的现在成为者囚犯只能靠他们自己恢复记忆，如果可能的话，自己逃出监狱。如果他们做不到，我们就无法协助他们，因为有更高的由 DEF 指挥机构指定的优先事项。宇宙中的每一个陷阱，包括那些用来捕捉那些仍然独立自由的现在成为者的陷阱，都被一个美感的电波诱惑。由美感波长引起的感觉比其他任何感觉对现在成为者都更具吸引力。当疼痛和美妙的电子波结合在一起时，这会导致现在成为者在身体内卡住。因为性美感、疼痛、电子波的使人虚弱的影响和上瘾性，统领地的统治阶级都不居住在肉身上。这也是为什么统领地的军官只使用木偶身体。这种波被证明是宇宙历史上最有效的诱捕装置。相比之下，地球上的一般现在成为者是高度残疾的，很难与之沟通，因为他们已经处于生物体物理层次的最低端。而且在精神上，由于 Bots 的摧残，他们实际上已经成为被遗弃的人。然而，尽管情况如此严峻，还是有希望的。每一个现在成为者最终都会被纳入永恒仁慈领域。在地球上，几乎一切都是谎言或妄想，目的是要分散你内在的注意力，或把你的注意力引到监狱里，引到虚假文明的虚假游戏里，引到监狱的围墙内。记住你是谁。物质宇宙只是春日里飘过天空的一朵云。这种蓬松的蒸汽所具有的美学魅力，并不能改变一个事实，那就是它仅仅是悬浮在一个空间中的分子的集合，由现在成为者创造，并由现在成为者的协议、一致意见维持。记住你的真实身份，你是创造的源泉，你创造了你自己的宇宙，帮助尽可能多的其他人记住，他们也是不朽的灵性存有。永恒仁慈领域学说节选。知道自己不懂是明智的，不知道自己不懂是愚蠢的。仁慈是由所有存有在永恒的灯下成就的，全体的，我们是永恒仁慈之源。如果不创造，就感知不到任何宇宙。创造性思想生成宇宙，思想创造空间的边界，边界形成对空间的幻觉。空间里充满了各种思想的形式，在其中放置形式、位置和空间被感知。一个被监控的运动形式的宇宙就是时间。形式的变化是由众存有引起的，议定的变化形式是相互感知的。众生的错觉是万物不是幻象。仁慈的创造是快乐。我们创造永恒仁慈的领域。传输结束。
Now the Pandora's box has been opened on Earth to reveal the truth behind many of the secrets under which the ISBS on Earth exist. It is now necessary, in order to enhance your recovery, to share a much more complete and detailed description of the domain with you. Please read this material, as it will help you to regain your memory of who you really are and where you came from. The following information has been translated as accurately as possible into the Earth language, North American English. All communications included in this transmission have been transcribed from telepathic communications between officers and personnel of DEF mission. a word that accurately defines the concept of a personal, immortal, spiritual entity by domain. Expeditionary force is not native to any known Earth language. Because Earth inhabitants are held in a perpetual state of amnesia, they no longer recall or perceive themselves as eternal spiritual entities. Therefore, the following definition is contrived and applied to the term ISB. ISB equals the primary nature of an immortal being is that they live in a timeless state of is, and the only reason for their existence is that they decide to be. Unfortunately, this definition does not include a description of the graduated scale of ability, mobility, understanding, and power of an ISB that is commonly understood by citizens of the eternally benevolent domain. What the deaf refers to as the Old Empire includes the ISBs from a multitude of galaxies, as well as many who currently comprise the prison population of Earth. All of these ISBs were members of an earlier society that invaded and conquered a vast region of space, which included the Milky Way galaxy. In 208,000 BCE, the planetary system in the constellation of the Big Dipper, which was the political and economic center of the galaxy, was conquered with atomic weapons. Subsequently, this invasion force, which includes some of the ISBs of the current population of Earth, fell into an irretrievable state of decay and degradation. The state in which an ISB inhabits a flesh body is the lowliest of the various stages of decline, and is at the very bottom of the social/economic/political hierarchy of the debased societies of the Old Empire. Along the route of invasion through Galaxy 3793, a small military unit of deaf personnel reached the outskirts of the Milky Way galaxy in the year 8212 BCE and set up a logistics space station in the solar system. In 8050 BCE, the principal military unit of the deaf proceeded to a planetary system located in one of the tail stars of the Big Dipper constellation and destroyed the galactic political center of the Old Empire. The fact that Earth is being illegally usurped as a prison planet by a secret society from the Old Empire was inadvertently discovered by the Domain Expeditionary Force, DEF, in 6248 BCE. A DEF battalion of 3,000 members, based inside a mountain top in the Himalayas, was attacked by space ships of the bots, which were hidden beneath the surface of Mars. The ISBES of the DEF battalion were captured and taken to the underground bots Mars base. There, they were each given treatment designed to entirely erase their memory and implant a false identity. Immediately thereafter, each member of the DEF battalion was sent back to Earth to inhabit biological bodies. The entire planet of Earth, and the adjoining space of Galaxy 3793, is permeated with bots devices, which are virtually undetectable and indestructible. Were it not for the fact that these mechanisms capture and reinforce amnesia in the ISB every time the ISB departs from a body, the DEF mission might have been able to rescue all of the 3,000 members of the lost battalion thousands of years ago. In 5965 BCE, after several unsuccessful attempts to find the missing battalion, the DEF set up secret installations in the asteroid belt and on the planet Venus from which to continue to search for and rescue them. Continuing investigation revealed that bots have been using Earth as a clandestine prison for no less than 30,000 years. No record of this activity exists in the archives of the Old Empire government since the bots are a secret, clandestine organization. ISBES who they judged to be undesirable, for any reason whatsoever, were murdered and transported to Earth from various planetary systems throughout the Old Empire. Each ISB is given the same treatment and sentenced to perpetual amnesia and imprisonment on Earth. The prison planet continues to be used as a convenient location for the disposal of undesirables from adjacent galaxies. This DEF mission has continued their rescue operation on Earth until now. Although the majority of the members of the battalion have been located, they are still being held, with the exception of a relatively small number that have been recovered, in a state of perpetual amnesia right up to this moment. Due to the overwhelming effectiveness of the prison planet amnesia machinery scattered around Earth and throughout this region of space, the DEF mission has, as yet, been unsuccessful at rescuing very many members of the lost battalion. The amnesia machinery, which detects and captures the ISB in an electronic force screen each time an ISB dies or departs from a body, repeats the same treatment as insurance against escape from Earth. All missionaries assigned to Mission 162589 must meet the minimum missionaries status requirement of volunteer for high-risk duty. This is due to the extraordinary nature of this mission, which requires that all personnel operate covertly inside hostile or enemy territory. In the case of this mission, operations require the ability to enter into, operate with, and exit from flesh bodies. This is treacherous enough, but is compounded by doing so on a heavy gravity prison planet surrounded by bots, amnesia/mind control machinery. All DEF personnel are volunteers. As a volunteer, any mission personnel may arrive and depart from duty, take a leave of absence from duty at their own discretion, and without disciplinary action, provided that they have received authorization from their mission commander in advance. The duration of each mission is established in advance by their respective mission orders, but is ordinarily not less than one mission cycle, or 5,000 Earth years. A few mystics, psychics, or spiritualists on Earth have the ability to perceive an ISB and communicate telepathically with them. This communication is the same whether the ISB is inside a body or outside. However, the energy field and the perceptive abilities of an ISB, such as those on Earth, who have been given amnesia and forced into the crude confines of a biological body, are very limited indeed. It is an observable fact that once enslaved, many ISBs prefer to continue being slaves, voluntarily, rather than to face their personal responsibility for failing to oppose the ISBs who enslaved them, or for having helped to enslave their fellow ISBs. This behavior is depended upon by the bots as a guarantee of their continuing ability to remain in power. Although the domain is willing to assist, we do not have authorization of invest resources in salvaging the general population of Earth at this time. According the current domain invasion schedule, it will be only one mission cycle before the main body of our invasion force reaches this galaxy, at which time other uses have been designated for Earth. Until that time, the ISB inmates of Earth are left to recover their own memory, and, if possible, get themselves out of prison. If they are unable to do so, we are unable to assist them, as there are higher priorities, as designated by DF Command Authority. Every trap in the universe, including those used to capture ISBs who remain free, is baited with an aesthetic electronic wave. The sensations caused by the aesthetic wavelength are more attractive to an ISB than any other sensation. When the electronic waves of pain and beauty are combined together, this causes the ISB to get stuck in the body. The debilitating impact and addiction to the sexual aesthetic pain electronic wave is the reason that the ruling class of the domain do not inhabit flesh bodies. This is also why officers of the domain forces only use doll bodies. This wave has proven to be the most effective trapping device ever created in the history of the universe. By contrast, the average ISB on Earth is highly disabled, and difficult, if not impossible, to communicate with because they are already at the lowest end of the physical hierarchy of biological bodies. And, spiritually, they have become virtually untouchable, due to the brutality of the bots. Yet, in spite of these overwhelming circumstances, there is hope. Every ISB will be embraced into the eternally benevolent domain eventually. On Earth, nearly everything is a lie, or delusion, intended to distract you or direct your attention inward, into the prison, into false games of false civilizations, inside the walls of the prison. Remember who you are. The physical universe is a cloud floating across the sky on a spring day. The aesthetic allure one could assign to this fluffy vapor does not change the fact that it is merely a collection of molecules suspended in a space, created by ISBs, and sustained by the agreement of LSBs. Remember who you really are. You are the source of creation. You create your own universe. Help as many others as possible to remember that they are also immortal spiritual beings. Excerpt from the Doctrine of the Eternally Benevolent Domain. To know that one does not understand is wise. Failing to know that one does not understand is folly. Benevolence is caused by all beings in the eternal now. Collectively, we are the source of eternal benevolence. If one does not create, no universe is perceived. One causes a universe with creative thought. Thought creates the boundaries of a space. Boundaries form the illusion of space. The space therein is filled with forms of thought. Placing forms therein, location and space are perceived. A universe of forms in motion, monitored, is time. The change of forms are caused by beings. Changing forms, agreed upon, are mutually perceived. The delusion of beings is that all is not an illusion. Benevolent creation is pleasure. We create the eternally benevolent domain. End of transmission.